What's so funny about the story of Adam and Eve is if they didn't eat the fruit, then they would essentially be mindless slaves in the Garden of Eden forever with no sense of good or evil, because they never ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But the Christians also say that God gave us free will because he didn't want us to be mindless slaves. He wanted us to willingly choose him. But is that not what he created Adam and Eve for? To just be in the garden forever with no sense of good or evil, just worshiping God and being with him and following what he says? So if God didn't want Adam and Eve to eat the fruit, he wanted them instead to be mindless slaves who got their sense of good and evil from him. The tree gave them an actual sense of what's really good and what's really evil, and God didn't like that. That's why he kicked them out, because they could no longer be mindless slaves. How does it work out that that same God turns around and gives humans free reign to decide what's good and what's evil and use our free will according to that? He got so mad at Adam and Eve for using their free will to figure out what was good and what was evil. While we're talking about mindless slaves, is that not what heaven is like? Everyone just worships God forever? And that's it? Like mindless slaves? When you actually speak to Christians, a lot of them are really similar to Adam and Eve, mindlessly following God and depending on God to tell them what's good and what's evil. Christians paint the story of Adam and Eve and like the tree of knowledge and all of that as a cautionary tale, but for me, I think it's a lesson on attaining knowledge beyond what you're mindlessly following. When Adam and Eve ate the fruit, he didn't say, damn, they disobeyed me. He said, damn, they have knowledge like I do now. Because God doesn't want them to have knowledge. Not like him, much like how the church doesn't want you to have knowledge. And I guess that makes me the serpent, kind of slithering in and whispering in your ear, hey, eat the fruit. Seek the knowledge that you're not being encouraged to seek. Because the church, much like God, likes you better when you're mindless. That's why they tell you not to lean on your own understanding.